This file is a free AI model from China. And whenever China releases a new version of this software, American tech companies lose hundreds of billions of dollars. If you are following the AI space closely, you already know this. The Chinese release models like DeepSeek or Kimi for free, and the stock value of AI companies just go down. And by the way, if any of the names or the jargon seem new to you, do not worry. I will explain each one in a very easy way. Anyway, the companies and the people bullish on AI will tell you that it's a temporary dip. But what if it isn't? And why is China giving away these models for free? They did spend billions making it. Is China like the most noble country in the world? So let me start this story in January 2025. That's when a Chinese company released a free AI model called DeepSeek. And in one trading day, it wiped off 589 billion of Nvidia, the single biggest one-day loss in the history of stock market. It made headlines everywhere.
DeepSeek sell-off is still really pressuring tech.
A major tech sell-off today.
Triggered on its face by one Chinese startup.
Let's talk about DeepSeek because it is mind-blowing and it is shaking this entire industry to its core.
But why did it happen? What is even China uploading? So for the non-geeks, AI models like GPT, Gemini or Claude are the brain, the engine, which take a lot of money and training to build. Until now, if you wanted to use one of these models, you had to pay Google or OpenAI to use it. But then China comes in and China changes the whole game. Instead of making you pay to access the model, Chinese companies have started giving away models that were almost as good for free. You could download them, modify them, run them on your own computers. I mean, if your hardware is that good. But imagine your own personal ChatGPT running for free on your local computer. That is exactly what an open weight model is, which is being released by China one after another. But is a free AI model such a big weapon that it can cause the collapse of all the American AI businesses? Well, for that you have to first understand how their current state actually is. Picture the AI business. Let's say it earns about 100 rupees a year, and to build itself, it's spending approximately 1,000, depending on how you count it, up to 10 times of what it makes. In 2026 alone, 4 companies, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, are spending around 725 billion building it. And the lab at the very center projects that it will lose about 14 billion this year. And its leaked accounts show that it lost closer to 38 billion last year. And I will be fair, this is not stupidity. It's a bet. You make your model so good, so far ahead, that people have no choice but to pay you a premium. So this whole AI business is sort of standing on one sentence. We own the best model, so we will set the price. Now let's discuss the interesting and a bit suspicious part. A big chunk of that $700 billion is not even leaving the building. Watch how the money is moving. Nvidia invests $30 billion into OpenAI. Now what does OpenAI do with that money? It buys chips. From who? Nvidia. Now Nvidia did the same thing with Anthropic. It put up 10 billion into it. And Anthropic, they also buy chips from Nvidia. It has got billions in a dozen other AI companies, and you guessed it right. It's the same move over and over again. Nvidia funds the company and the company hands it back to Nvidia to buy chips. But what is wrong in that? That's what a lot of you might be thinking. So understand this. Every time that money comes back, Nvidia books it as a revenue. That revenue makes Nvidia look like it's growing explosively. So the stocks climb. And a stock which is soaring keeps the confidence high and the money flowing, which lets Nvidia keep funding the next customer, who buys more chips, which books as more revenue. All in, Nvidia has announced over $500 billion of these deals in a single year, but its actual yearly revenue is around 200 billion only. The tricks go way deeper than this, but the point is that a significant chunk of this demand is just the same money going around. Now here is the larger, more important question. How successful do these AI companies have to be to justify all of this? David Cahn ran the math and called it a $600 billion question, and Bain went even further. By 2030, they say that the industry needs $2 trillion a year. You know how much they earn today? 60 billion. Yes, it would need to nearly double every year for 5 years straight, and even then it will fall 800 billion short. So there are hundreds of billions of dollars at stake, and you have to earn a lot of money just to break even. But you probably can, because you have the best models in the world and no one can catch you, right? Right? Yeah, no. China is releasing equally good models for free. Yeah, for free. So what does China releasing a model for free even mean? A non-techie friend of mine asked that even ChatGPT is free. What is so different about the Chinese models? Understand this. ChatGPT has a free tier. It's free to use. You go to their website, you type, you get an answer. But as I mentioned before, the model, the brain, the engine, that is owned by OpenAI. It lives on their computers. They can raise the price tomorrow or just shut it off. And there is nothing you can do about it. However, China's free is a completely different thing. They don't give you just access. They give you the model itself, the actual file that I showed in the beginning. You can download it on your own machine, or you can just host it on cloud, or you could just run it offline forever. You can do whatever you want. You can even build a whole business on top of it. But what about quality? Can the Chinese models compete with ChatGPT or Claude? Let me tell you, they are really, really good. Let's take coding, the thing enterprises spend the most on. China's latest model Kimi K3 does not just compete, it wins. Today, 7th August, when this video is being recorded, it is the #1 model in the world on front-end code arena, the main independent coding leaderboard. Yes, #1. It beats Claude's Opus models on 5 out of 6 coding tests and at half the cost. You did not expect that, did you? Now when you can own such a good model for free, host it on your own secure servers, no data sharing or anything of that sort whatsoever, why would any company on earth pay for expensive American models? And you can see it in data also. The Chinese models are currently the most used models in terms of volume in Open Router, almost 40%. And of course, Anthropic is still #1 in terms of money spent because the Chinese ones are very cheap. So yeah, that is the whole problem. The model was the reason why they could charge a premium. But what will they do now? China did not just damage their moat, it kind of nuked it. But why is China doing this? Like, are they the best country in the world? Do they have the noblest intentions? Of course not. We all know there is something more to it. First, China has done something similar for multiple times already. Flood a market with cheap subsidized supply until nobody who needs a profit can survive. It's called dumping. They dumped so much steel at such low prices that other companies had to shut down. They have gotten anti-dumping duty also slapped on them umpteen times. But this is the first time they're doing it with something in the software field.
If I were Xi, I would just dump cheap AI into the US market, and the market realizes that there's no way they can justify these incredible valuations. I think the US market crashes because 40% of the S&P now related to this giant bet America is making on AI.
Second, and it's so simple, it's hilarious. Would you trust China with your data? I wouldn't, and definitely not even you. Would you trust China with your data? See? So, no one trusts China at all. The second your data lands on their servers, it's under the Chinese law. No serious company would prefer it. So China could anyway never make the money the normal way, the way Americans are trying to do. So this seemed like the only way out. Third, and this is a real one, China is doing it because it wants to ensure that US does not win the AI race. Because AI obviously is the next generation defining thing on earth. And understand this, these models are not cheap at all. So giving it away for free is literally causing a lot of cash burn for all of these Chinese firms. But it does serve their purpose of not letting anyone else also win. Also, China is building these AI models at a fraction of what US firms are spending. By some optimistic counts, it's up to 1/10 of the cost. But how are they doing it so cheaply? Well, America has an answer to it. One word: cheating. So there are many lawsuits now. The big US labs are accusing China of copying their models. And honestly, Maybe they did. It's called distillation, by the way. You take the big, expensive model, ask it millions of questions and use the answers to train a smaller, cheaper one to think the same way. Basically, a student is copying all the answers of a genius. But two problems with the cheating allegations. Number one, everyone does it, and every one of these models, the American or Chinese, was built by scraping the entire copyrighted internet without even asking anyone. Nobody's hands are clean here. And China also had some architectural breakthrough which allowed them to do it so cheaply. And two, which is also the bigger one, even if China copied it exactly, how does it save America? Because think about it, the best model in the world, the one that costed gazillions of dollars to build, if it can be cloned into a free version just months after the launch, then it was never the moat anyway, right? So, is this the end of American AI? Not so fast, because the people who bet on this are not fools, right? And there is a real chance they will win anyway. First, don't fall for the obvious one. Someone will point at Nvidia's record profits and say, see, it's fine, we're doing amazing. Nope. Remember the whole money going in circle thing that we discussed earlier? The actual answer, according to me, is usage. The demand is real. And you can do all sorts of accounting tricks, but you cannot deny that ChatGPT has around 800 million people on it every week. And the more important part, the people funding this can probably afford to be wrong. Google has ad business, Amazon has shopping, Meta has the entire social media. That is real money. And a significant chunk of it is outside the AI circle. Hundreds of billions of it. So being early and overbuilt could be survivable for them. A stock market crash will definitely hurt them a lot, but they may not die. And the same case is with Nvidia also. Because the world will still be building data centers because this tech is real and the advancement is not going to stop irrespective of the crash. However, the same cannot be said about the pure AI labs like OpenAI and Anthropic. They are under the real risk here. So will China destroy America's AI industry? Honestly, it might. If the bubble bursts and trillions of dollars in value vanish, quite a few of these companies will not get back up. That is as real as it gets. And the panic in the US has already begun. But what we can be sure of is that even in this crash, this technology is not going to die. So, all in all, interesting times ahead. Also, if you were wondering where is India in all of this, you can go check out my detailed video on the state of AI in India. The link is in description. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I see a lot of you commenting that I'm doing great work and I'm so underrated, which is very nice to hear, I'll be very honest. But please share this and make me overrated, or at least just rated. Thank you.